Hello, class. Today we're going to look at external bleeding in the leg and basically 4 different types of injuries that we have to handle. Pretty much common sense, but hopefully you pay attention. Make sure you watch the video. It's about 11 minutes, 12 minutes long, and then the quiz that follows. Um, might ask a few questions in the video in reference to making sure you're just focusing and paying attention. One other key ingredient is make sure at any point in time, if you need to retake a test, you felt you didn't comprehend the information, watch the video again, email me, and I will have set up a retake for your quiz. So let's look at today, external bleeding, and here we go.
There are 2 types of wounds you may encounter as a first aid responder: open wounds and closed wounds. Simply put, open wounds have broken the skin, and closed wounds have not. For small, closed wounds, apply a cold pack made from a water and ice mixture in a sealed plastic bag to control swelling and pain. Make sure to not apply cold directly to the skin, and don't use anything freezing cold. Do this for 20 minutes or as tolerated. There are 4 main types of open wounds: abrasions, lacerations, avulsions, and punctures. Abrasions are caused by something rubbing roughly against the skin. They're more commonly known as scrapes, rug burns, or road rash. Lacerations, otherwise known as a cut in the skin, are commonly caused by a sharp object such as a knife. Lacerations are not always painful because damaged nerves can't send pain signals to the brain. Avulsions are when part of the skin is torn away. This type of injury can cause significant bleeding. Puncture wounds are caused by a sharp object piercing the skin. Puncture wounds do not bleed much externally, but an object that goes into the soft tissues, such as a nail, can carry germs deep into the body and can also cause significant internal bleeding. Some wounds may require stitches. When it comes to deciding on stitches, a good rule is, if you have to ask yourself whether it needs stitches, it generally does. Certain types of open wounds need special attention or care. One example that you may come across often is a nose injury. Nose injuries are usually caused by a blow from a blunt object and often result in a nosebleed. High blood pressure or changes in altitude can also cause nosebleeds. To control bleeding from a nosebleed, have the injured or ill person sit slightly forward to stop blood from potentially running down the back of the throat into the stomach or airway. Then pinch the nostrils together. Make sure you're not pinching near the eyes. If a nosebleed doesn't stop after 10 to 15 minutes, help the person get to a healthcare professional or call 911 immediately. Here are some tools you'll be using in this mission. This is a dressing. You use this to apply pressure to a wound in order to stop the bleeding. And this is a bandage. Once the bleeding stops, you will wrap the wound with a bandage to hold the dressing in place. And remember, you should always call 911 in an emergency when bleeding is severe.
So a briefing summary, you get a chance to review this. 4 types of open wounds: abrasions, lacerations, avulsions, punctures. Okay, so we're going to go to a mission where there's an individual that has an injury to his leg. Here we go.
David's leg is bleeding. Time to act. For more minor controllable wounds like this, you'll want to control the bleeding immediately after checking the scene and obtaining consent. If this wound was a major open wound, the bleeding was uncontrollable or severe and life-threatening, you should call 911 and continue to provide care until EMS arrives at the scene.
Okay, so first, let me get myself in here a little bit. First, we're going to check the scene, check call care.
No hazards on this side of the room. Everything looks okay over here. Good. You've checked the scene, and there don't appear to be any hazards. The scene is safe.
Okay. Now, as you know, when we go up to a person, we want to obtain consent, and we'll tell them a little bit about ourselves. You know, our background, again, it would be basic first aid. Thaddeus Stevens. I feel very comfortable addressing this issue. Here we go.
What should you say to obtain consent?
Explain who you are, your level of training, and what I just talked about.
Yeah. Help me, would you? Nice work. You've obtained consent. You need to have Arnold get the first aid kit so you can control the bleeding.
So we got to find where Arnold is right now. I think it's go back. There's Arnold. Let's tell Arnold to go get a first aid kit. And if they have an AED, okay?
Okay, I'll go grab it. I'll be back.
You got the first aid kit. Now you can focus on controlling the bleeding.
Okay, so we have a choice here to apply a dressing and put a little pressure on it, slow it down.
Nice job. Now you can interview David to learn more about his signs and symptoms.
Okay, again, if you have gloves, that's a positive. One thing you do want to remember is obviously to wash your hands either prior or after. At this situation, there's times that you may not be able to wash your hands prior to, or you may not have gloves. You just with the gauze pad use a couple extra just for protection. But here we're going to put the gauze pad on the injury. If you look right here, so we applied the dressing and pressure to the wound right there.
You're already applying pressure.
So now we go to interview David. Of course, everybody knows the interview process with sample. So here we go.
My leg hurts and is bleeding.
Okay. The A, we're going to allergies.
No, just allergic to hurting myself, I guess.
There you go. He's a funny guy. What medication? The M?
No medication.
Okay. Prior medical conditions. That's important to know if you have to treat anything specific.
No.
Okay. And the L would be the last food or drink.
Some kind of omelet for breakfast. I don't remember.
I don't think that's why he injured his leg. Okay. And of course, what led to the injury?
I slipped in something over there and cut my leg on the rack. I feel okay.
Nice job. You've gained enough information. It looks like the bleeding has stopped. Now you can apply a roller bandage.
Okay, so what type of bandage they had mentioned? We're going to wrap a dressing around, and it's called a roller bandage.
Before securing the bandage, check below the injured area for feeling, warmth, and color. Okay, everything looks good. So now, go ahead and wrap the wound.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it, but some things you can look for here is what's a cyanosis or cyanotic. If it's bluish in the toenails, not getting circulation, heavy swelling, of course, pain on touch, they're issues that you may have to call 911 also at the time and address the issue. So we're going to wrap this and then tie this. So this is going to go down here on here.
Not quite.
Well,
try again. When wrapping an injury like this, tie the knot directly over the wound. Good work. Now that the bandage is tied, check below the injured area for feeling, warmth, and color again. Everything looks good here. Nice job. You controlled the bleeding but made several mistakes while doing so.
So let's think about what mistakes we made.
You already controlled the bleeding.
So let's go here. We got to monitor David.
David's breathing seems good. Continue to monitor David.
Okay. So that's where we are. I wish you could go through the mission on your own. I have to sit here and click it. So sometimes I like to give you different options. So we are now at 8 minutes and 38 seconds. Again, you may watch the video 2 times. Let me pull myself up here. And the quiz again, this is going to be on a very brief quiz. External bleeding. The lessons are going to start getting a little more intense. I'll be combining 2. And then, of course, when we get to CPR and the AED, there'll be about 3 to 4 lessons just dealing with those 2 areas. I wish everybody well. Have a great week. I know you watch this on a Wednesday, or some of you watch it over the weekend, whenever it may be. Again, feel free to call me, or email me at any point in time. Stay focused. I wish you the best. Okay, let's go Bulldogs.